All right, we are live on YouTube, and today we're going to be discussing women seem to be more career-focused than relationship-focused in the modern world. So stick around. That's coming right Live from Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. And after you bang that bell, when that pop-up box pops up, make sure you select all notifications, because that way you won't miss a single thing. You will not miss anything when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. And also make sure on your smartphone, your tablet, your iPhone, your Android, or anywhere that you have the YouTube app installed on, you must also make sure that the YouTube app is set to receive those notifications at a device level. Do all of that and you're set to go. You're all set to go. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the show. Hello, Queen. How are you doing? Queen says smash the like button for Eli. Queen, thank you so much for being here. Well, folks, today I'm going to get right to it, because this is a topic that is very, very near and dear to my heart. And by no means am I trying to sound jaded or come off as upset or come off as angry or bitter or anything like that because of this topic. But this topic is completely 100% truthful about the way the modern world is when it comes to especially more so women and the way that they are dating in the modern world and what they are more so looking for in the modern world and not looking for until later on in life. And it's just basically turned everything, in my opinion, into one big mess. Now, again, I'm not criticizing women for being in the workforce, for being liberated, for having equal rights, in the ways that men only once had. I'm very happy for that. But, this change for women over the past 55 plus years has certainly tremendously affected their ability to have, successful and sustainable relationships and to have what they really want, which in my opinion is to find a good man to settle down with, to fall in love with, to reproduce, have a family, and to grow old together, right? But what's getting in the way of that? What's getting in the way of the modern woman having what women have always naturally and biologically wanted? It is the fact that they are more career focused now than relationship focused. And they're putting off their relationships, having children and marriage until later on in life. But what happens to women as they get older? Women have what's called a biological clock. And once a woman starts hitting her 30s, that biological clock starts to tick a little bit faster each and every year after that. And then once a woman reaches 40, her fertility level goes down to about 5%, I believe. And then at 41 or 42, from what I've read, it goes down to 1%, right? When is a woman most fertile? Obviously, the moment she's able to reproduce throughout her, late teens, early 20s, mid 20s and late 20s. And then in her 30s, she's still quite fertile, not as fertile as in her 20s, but still much more fertile than once she reaches her once she reaches her 40s, right? So in essence, it's creating a lot of confusion amongst both men and women. And I am here to discuss this today and, clear this up. Again, folks, I'm not jaded. I'm not upset. Am I kind of laughing at it? Absolutely. I think all men that have a reasonable amount of understanding towards this, feel the same way as I do. Now, let's just be real about this. There are both, bad and good men and women out there. So I'm not saying that, all men are saints and women are not. And I'm not saying that all women are saints and men are not, okay? But what I'm talking about here is the reasonable men and women that truly want to have a happy, loving, caring, sustainable, long-term relationship that leads to marriage, that leads to having a family and, growing old together and living happily ever after. It's just become extremely challenging and almost next to impossible to have nowadays. Now, today, I have two very good blog articles I'm going to read that are going to basically blow your mind away, especially one blog article that was written by a lady that that really wanted kids, but she put her relationships on hold, and then you'll see what happened. I'll get to that blog in just a little bit. She started this later on in life in her mid to late 30s, and when I get to that blog, you're gonna be blown away by it. Also, I'm going to be reading another blog from the Grazia site, graziadaily.co.uk. It's a UK site, Career versus Love, What's the Right Choice? So I'll be reading that and be dissecting that as well. But before I get to that, I want to share a personal story about an experience I had with a young woman in her mid-20s, age 25, and this was as recent as last night. Now, most of you know I'm a single man. I've had some pretty good relationships in the past, and, even to this day at age 46, I myself am personally looking to find a good woman to, have a relationship with and settle down with, and if it's possible, and she's young enough to have children, or she's still able to have children even in her 40s, have that that traditional family life. That's what I've been looking for, and every so often, especially now that we've been in this pandemic and we've been kind of stuck at home for the most part, I'll call one of these phone line dating sites in my area, in addition to all of the online dating sites and apps that we have today, Match.com, OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, Tinder, etc., right? Before all that, before the internet even came out, these phone line dating services were already around. They're still around to this day. Now, they're not as good today as they used to be because most people have gone online because you can see pictures and stuff, right? But what I've liked about these phone line dating services is that there are a bunch of women and men live on the line. And what you do is you go through the list of pre-recorded greetings, and then you can send that woman, a message, right? And she can respond to you because she's live on the system. And then you can converse back and forth through messages, and then maybe decide to connect live by pressing the one button if you further click. Well, every so often I'll call one of those lines just to kind of see what's going on, not expecting anything. But at the same time, when I've called those lines a few times, over the past year or two or so, that I've been single, I'm also looking to see what women really want, what women in their 20s and 30s want, because, typically, I tend to attract more women in their mid to late 30s to early 40s, a lot of women in their 20s. Some of them like older men, some of them don't. But even the ones that do like older men or say that age is nothing but a number, they don't want a relationship. They're looking for a hookup. They're more career focused than relationship focused, right? And when they hear me say, hey, I'm not expecting anything, but hey, I'm relationship minded. I'm looking to find a good woman and see where it goes, right? Then, they know I'm not hookup material, which I'm not, because I'm not a hookup kind of guy. You know what I mean? So last night I was on this phone line, and I heard a message from this lady that said she was 25 and she described herself. She seemed pretty attractive, but it wasn't even her physical attraction that was interesting to me. It was the fact that she sounded very mature for a woman in her mid-20s compared to the typical woman in her 20s nowadays. So I sent her a message, and she had stated, she's not looking for anything serious. She just is looking to check out this line and see what it's all about. It was her first time on the line. So we started exchanging messages back and forth, and the conversation was going pretty well. We went back and forth probably for 45 minutes to an hour or so. I started to ask her some questions. I'm like, well, you say, you're not expecting anything on the line. What are you looking for? Are you open to a relationship? Do you want to have kids? Do you want true love and happiness? You seem like you've got your act together, and you sound different than the other women on the line that are just breathing heavily into the phone or looking for phone sex or something like that, right? And she got back to me and said, no, I'm not looking for a relationship. To be honest with you, I'm just here to check out the line and just to, chit chat and this and that. And basically, she ended up telling me that she wants to make a difference in this world. She's a very attractive woman, and she wants to give back to this world. I cannot remember exactly what it was. I think she wanted to do some supermodeling or something like that, and then donate a lot of her money to great charities. She wants to make this world a better place. Now, after that point, I ended the conversation after that, and then I got off the phone line and did some other things. But, I started to really wonder, like, what do women really want nowadays? And why are women in their 20s and 30s not relationship minded at all? That's part of their natural biology. Part of, the natural biology of both men and women are to get together and, complement each other. Men and women work very well together to, be, great companions, to uplift each other, to balance each other out, because, women are better at some things than men, and men are better at some things than women, and together we balance each other out, right? The whole purpose of life has been, like I said, to, procreate, reproduce, fall in love, live happily ever after, right? And I started to wonder what is really going on here, and what has caused this wave over the last. I'm more so seeing this happen over the last 10 to 20 years, more specifically the last 10 years, especially since these smartphones came out. Like, it's just become almost impossible to keep a woman's attention, because she's talking to so many people on that thing, probably like 10 men, right? That it's just hard to, even if you're the perfect guy, even if you have the greatest personality, the greatest looks, the most money, if you're the perfect guy, you're in essence competing with all these other guys that are, talking with her on her phone. It's just bizarre what's been happening lately. So, I've been trying to put two and two together and really figure out what's been going on. And a lot of it stems back to, women having equal rights, modern day feminism. A lot of it also stems, back to, a lot of leaders in our government, a lot of female leaders in our government are more so pushing for females to, get more college degrees and get into corporate jobs, and push women into truly becoming equal to men, which again, I have no problem with that. But when you push a woman to do something like that, which, biologically was not what she was made to do, you in essence are putting her out of her natural essence. Again, no problem with women working, getting degrees or anything. It's just not part of, how, in my opinion, God made women to be, right? That's just my opinion. Again, not taking anything away from what women have and worked hard to get. Congratulations, no problem. But naturally and biologically, women were not made to do many of the things that they're doing today. Now, they are doing them, and many of them, if not most of them, are doing these things quite well. But at what expense, is it coming at? It's coming at the expense of their love lives. It's coming at the expense of what they really want. And even for the women that say, okay, I'm more career focused. I'm going to put having, kids away. I'm going to put off to the side having kids until later on in life and focus on my career right now. Well, what happens in that situation? Okay. Again, when are women most fertile? Women are most fertile, from the point they're able to have kids, through their late teens, early to mid 20s to late 20s, right? Okay, that's when a woman is most fertile. If she puts off having what she really wants until her early to mid or late 30s, she's less fertile at that time. And some women even go through menopause in their late 30s. I've even heard of some women going through menopause as early as their mid to late 30s. So for a woman that wants children, what if she said, okay, I'm going to get settled in my career, and then I'm going to look for the right guy in my mid 30s. And next thing you know, she finds the right guy. They're ready to start having kids. Then she starts menopausing. Well, now she's upset because she can't have kids. Well, ma'am, you did that to yourself. You made a choice. You said, okay, I want to go to college, get a degree, and then I want to, work my way up through the corporate ladder, get promoted, become financially stable, and then I'm going to look at, my personal life, my family life later on in life. So you can't sit there and cry and whine and complain when you're the one that made a choice. You had a choice of either A, not going to college and finding a man that's traditional to, have a family with, or B, you could find a way to balance both, which is what I feel women have a huge problem at doing. Some women are good at this. Don't get me wrong. I've met some women, and there are some women out there that are very good at balancing their work and their personal life, their college and their personal life. But most women that I've noticed are not good at that, right? They're only good at doing one thing or the other. And, that's another thing that's made me wonder, because women have been known to be better multitaskers than men. Women have been known to be better multitaskers than men. So if women are better multitaskers than men, and they're phenomenal multitaskers, right? Okay, then why are they not able to balance out their, college/personal life, or once they get their degree and they start working, why aren't they able to balance out their work/personal life if they're better multitaskers than men? That's a pretty good question there, right? Are they just choosing not to? Or is college so difficult, and is it so difficult to compete in the corporate world? Does it take so much time in the corporate world, working overtime to work your way up through the ranks, that you have no energy left at the end of each day to find that true love? Is that what it is? Is that part of what it is? Because again, like I said, women have always been biologically and naturally better multitaskers than men, because in the days of traditionalism, while men were off to work busting their ass to bring home the bacon, right, to pay the bills and stuff, right, the woman was cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. If there are 2 or 3 or 4 kids, she would be constantly multitasking around the house and busting her butt to get all that done. So if women have always been better at multitasking than men, which I give you that, that's just the biological truth. Those are just facts, right? Then why aren't women able to balance their work/personal life? Men have always done that. Why can't women do it? That's a very fair question. Any woman that comes across this live stream or this video, please feel free to comment and let me know, or email me at Coach Eli at coacheli@eliasmelas.com. My email is below in the description, or from your laptop or desktop, you can access my email at the About section of my YouTube channel. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you want to be interviewed. Let me know if you want to come live on the air and share with me your experiences regarding what I'm talking about here. Because yeah, it's It's just something that even the strongest, most reasonable, most understanding men, even an understanding, slightly left liberal man like myself that understands the modern world, that understands women's empowerment, that understands that women are working nowadays and going to college, getting degrees. I'm trying to really figure out what women really want nowadays. I really am. And I think one of the reasons why I've struggled to figure it out, and many other normal, reasonable, intelligent men like myself have struggled to figure it out, is because we don't even think, and I don't even think, I'll just speak for myself, I don't even think women really know what they want nowadays. That's just the thing. So if women don't know what they really want, then how in the world are men going to ever figure out what women really want, right? So anyway, let me go ahead and switch over to the first article. By the way, I love this background today. Career, relationship, love. Career, relationship, love. And on the other side here, I'll turn off the chat just for a second. On the other side, we have finance, luck, wealth, marriage. Finance, luck, wealth, and marriage. Let's turn the chat back on. All right. Let's go ahead and switch over to the browser source. Now, the title of this blog, you're not going to be able to see it because the title is just off alignment from the rest of the article that I cropped, so I can actually show it to you easier here on the stream. But the title of this blog is called Career versus Love. What's the right answer in your 20s? Career versus love. What's the right answer in your 20s? You're meant to pick your career, right? Because that's what independent, smart 20-somethings do. But what if you don't want to? One more time. You're meant to pick. Well, they misspelled that. That should be you are. You are meant. That's a spelling error right there. Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. You are meant to pick up your career, not you're meant. Y-O-U-R. That's the grammar Nazis in the house. You're meant to pick up your career, right? Because that's what independent, smart 20-somethings do. But what if you don't want to? By Isabella Foxwell, posted on July 22nd, 2015. This was about 5 years ago. Still very relevant because all this started happening before that. I'd say in the year 2010 or so, things just started progressively heading towards the direction of what I just mentioned in my monologue a second ago. All right, let's get right to this here. You've got two options. Accept the offer of a fashion PR internship in New York City for 12 months minimum, or find a job, move to London, and live with your boyfriend of 3.5 years. No brainer, right? So you're in a relationship with a guy for 3.5 years. Emotions have come into play from both the man and the woman. You're emotionally attached to each other. You love each other. You've done everything together. You're happy together, right? Everything is amazing. He's a great dude. You're a great chick. Everything's going well. But now you get this job offer, right? This internship in New York City for 12 months minimum. So what do? Do you take that amazing internship that you've always wanted based on, what you went to college for, which is based on what you're passionate about, right? Hopefully your degree is based on what you're passionate about, right? Or find a job, move to London, and live with your boyfriend of 3.5 years. No brainer, right? Wrong! While the career versus love decision is usually reserved for new mums, they call moms mums in the UK. I don't know why. We call, mum would be like a mummy out here. But, just when I say mums, that's moms. For new moms trying to decide whether to return to work or not, what about those of us that aren't bound to the ones we love by DNA or marriage? Does that mean these love versus career conundrums, particularly those that involve putting an ocean between two people, should be infinitely easier because there are plenty more fish in the sea, and if he or she is the one, they will wait? Oh, hell no. No one's waiting nowadays. No. People that are in the military that get deployed for many months at a time, if there's a wife at home, trust me, it's not that she wants to cheat. It's that, she wants to have her man around. Men and women, relationships will not work if you don't see each other more often than not. Now, initially, you don't have to see each other every day, but at some point, if you love the person and you want to be with them, you're going to want to live with them, and you'll see them every day. You'll sleep with them every day, wake up next to them every day, right? And now, people are saying, or I've heard this before, if he or she is the one, they will wait. No! Hell no! No. As someone who had to make this decision at the beginning of the year, I can tell you the short answer, no. I just said that. Big decisions are difficult no matter your age, but feel more poignant and life-defining when you're young. Every sentence is prefaced with what if, and it sucks that we can't have a quick peek into the future to see which choice will lead us where. Well, why can't you do both? If you love the guy, why don't you find a job in your industry, where you both live currently, right? Why can't you do that? Just because you get a job offer that's clear across the ocean or clear across the country or far away from where you and your boyfriend currently live doesn't mean you're not going to find a similar job closer. Because what do you want out of life? Are you going to base your happiness of your life 100% on your work, or are you going to base your life on the actual purpose of a life? To spend time with someone, to connect with someone, to fall in love with someone, to procreate with someone. Okay? Work is work, and you should enjoy what you do, and you should be passionate about what you do. But in my honest opinion, work should be prioritized. Obviously, you need to make money to survive, right? In my honest opinion, you should weigh work and your relationship 50-50. It shouldn't be, okay, my work gets 75, 80% of decision-making weight, even when it comes to my relationship. When it comes to my relationship, no matter how good this dude is, no matter how much I love him, no matter how much I trust him and how great he is, and I am to him, I'm still going to weigh my relationship less than when it comes to my career, or if I have this golden opportunity, right? So what happens if this woman decides to go to New York and, take this job, right? Or take this internship, and then it implodes in her face, and then she's back at square one. Now, here we are a year later, she reaches out to this dude. He's already off with some other chick, happy, and now she's, trying to beg him to come back, right? That's what always happens. But let's say her career took off, and she made it big time in New York. Now she's in New York. She's meeting other guys, right? So in essence, what women want to do is they want to make the better option, and they want to be able to immediately monkey branch leave the current best option for a potential better option, but they want to make sure that better option is there in a solid way before they do that, right? That's just the way women are. They've always been that way. Women are hypergamous. Women will monkey branch. Women are looking to find the strongest man, and they're looking to find, the strongest, possible gene to reproduce with and to spend time with, right? And now when it includes their job, they're going to weigh in, okay, what's going to get me further in life? Is it going to be being with this guy, or is it going to be this job? Or is it a combination of both? Right? And you being a guy in a relationship, a 3.5-year relationship with a woman like that, and she's trying to figure that out, especially if you're in your 20s and don't understand this as well as I do, how the hell are you going to handle that, right? You don't know how to handle it, right? Yeah, that's what you're up against. You know what I mean? So what if I go to New York and I have the chance to stay there for the foreseeable future? I just said that. I know how you ladies think because I'm 46 years old. I've been through this stuff. Then what? What if I stay in the UK and my relationship doesn't work out? Right. You're kind of weighing this out, right? Instead of just letting things naturally happen, right? I love women. I love women. Women make life so interesting. I swear they do. I'm not jaded. I'm not. I'm just smiling. If I don't go to New York now, will I have passed up a one-time only offer and regret it for the rest of my life? See, women are very insecure naturally, right? Instead of her having the confidence and saying, hey, you know what? I love my boyfriend. I don't want to ever lose this guy. There's no other guy out there like him. There will always be another opportunity. Instead of her thinking that way, she's thinking, well, if I don't go to New York now, will I have passed up a one-time only offer and regret it for the rest of my life? That's normal for women to react that way. Women are naturally and normally more insecure than men. That's an insecurity. When the truth of the matter is, there's always going to be another opportunity. And what about self-employment? Why don't you start your own business? You ever thought of that? Just saying, right? Having so many options in your early 20s is a wonderful thing, but it also makes choosing just one path to tread extremely difficult. On the one hand, my brain was telling me, move to New York. You have no family, mortgage, or serious responsibilities, but you've been in a 3.5-year emotionally attaching or in an emotionally attached, committed relationship, and you're in love and you're invested in that. And are you not taking your boyfriend's feelings into consideration, ma'am? See, this is another problem I have with women in general. No disrespect, just saying, right? Women expect us to take their feelings, wants and needs and emotions into consideration, yet they don't want to take ours into consideration when they have these options. Think about it. Now, there are good women out there that do take their man's feelings, wants and needs into consideration. But there are very few of those women. I've dated those types of women. Those are the only women that I will date. The ones that are as considerate to my wants and needs as they want me to be to theirs, right? But this woman is typical. This is normal. This is normal behavior. This is normal behavior. All right, sorry, I got distracted. I'm getting a lot of messages from my friends on my phone. People are reaching out to me today. It is Monday. I got up early and, I took care of my day job stuff. And I did a members only video, by the way, folks, today. So if you want to start seeing my members only videos that will be happening, if not daily, almost daily, become a member for at least $4.99. All my packages will get you the same thing. It's just how much you want to donate. Again, I put out my first members only video earlier today, and I will be running daily, if not almost daily, motivational videos and inspirational videos to give further support to actual channel members of this channel. So again, she said, on the one hand, my brain was telling me, move to New York, you have no family, mortgage, or serious responsibilities, but my heart was finding it more difficult to get on board. Queen says NYC is bad there. Oh, it's just an example, Queen. It could be anywhere. It could be anywhere. This is just the example that was used. Well, that was her real life situation, but it could be any place. Same thing. We're talking about the principle of the matter, not the location, but I think you already knew that. Big decisions are difficult no matter your age, but feel more poignant and life-defining when you're young. Well, making mistakes when you're younger allows you more time to correct them, right? As you get older, the more mistakes you make, it sets you back, and, the less time you have to really have what you want, right? Or get what you want, right? A recent survey carried out by PwC on 1,400 female millennials in the UK, women born between 1980 and 1995, revealed that 62% of us rank opportunity for career progression as the most important employer trait, making us more career confident than ever before. And that's why you focus all your energy on, college and, your career over biologically what you were created to be, which, is to procreate with a man and share your life with a man. Now, again, not taking anything away from women that want to work, but why can't women balance it out and have both, like men have always done? Women want equality to men, right? We've given you that, and I respect you as that, right? So if we're going to make it totally equal, why can't women balance out their work and their personal life? Why? Men have been doing it all along, right? Just saying, right? We're so determined, in fact, that not only do 70% of us feel anxious about taking a career break, wow, but we're also increasingly willing to postpone starting a family. Bingo! Let me read that one more time. We're so determined, in fact, that not only do 70% of us feel anxious about taking a career break, they don't want to stop, but we're also increasingly willing to postpone starting a family. Yes, you're going to postpone it until you're about to go through menopause, right? Or you're less fertile, right? Just saying, those are the facts. A 2014 YouGov study showed that 35% of females 18 to 24 year-olds plan on postponing motherhood in order to build a career. One more time. A 2014, this number is higher today. Okay? That was 6 years ago. This number is higher today in 2020. It's still staggering enough. It was still staggering enough in 2014, but you get the hint. A 2014 YouGov study showed that 35% of female 18 through 24-year-olds plan on postponing motherhood in order to build a career. Wow. Those stats are enough to make anyone think that choosing love as a priority in modern Britain is taking a step backwards, especially when you're 22 years old. Back in the Paleolithic times, when the average age was 30, women had already had like 3 or 4 kids by the time they were 22. My mother was, 22, 23 when she had me. I'm floored. I don't know what to say. I mean, I do know what to say, but at the same time, oh man, let's continue. Women are chasing opportunities in the workplace, at home, and abroad more than ever. And here I was being presented one on a silver platter. And you were not taking your boyfriend of 3.5 years. So I can't even say this the right way. You were not taking the feelings into consideration of your boyfriend of 3.5 years. You were thinking about yourself, right? In essence, ma'am, no disrespect, just stating the facts, you're being selfish. Yet, the one thing you can't stand about men, or the one thing I know women can't stand about men in general, are selfish men. But it's okay for women to be selfish and men for not to be, right? I'm just saying. I'm just stating the facts. That's what I've dealt with. No big deal. Well, maybe it is, but what can you do about it? That's the way it goes, right? I had spent 3 wonderful months at the end of 2014 in the Big Apple and was offered a PR internship starting this spring. Returning to New York meant taking a chance and seeing where the year led with no promises of a permanent job offer at the end. While the decision wasn't strictly between career and love, oh, it was completely between career and love, ma'am. You're just not saying that because you're an emotional being, right? That's how women are. That's what you don't get. While the decision wasn't strictly between career and love, fashion PR wasn't the plan. It was about the opportunity to work in a city that I have loved for 10 years. Well, why don't you see if your boyfriend wants to move out there with you? You ever thought of that? And if he doesn't want to move, then you two may end up breaking up if you end up moving there. It was about, oh, sorry, I already read that. In many ways, it seemed crazy that I wasn't jumping at the chance to spend another year there. Friends and family didn't urge me to do one thing over another. That's pretty good, because if it was my family and I was in that situation, or if I had a sister, which I don't, and it was her in that situation, the Greek culture would be all over that. So you're very fortunate to have a family that respects, you in that way to allow you to make your own decision, because you're a grown-ass adult at age 22, right? Right. It boiled down to whether I was ready to go to New York for a year, possibly more. Yes, I could come back, but I was worried that after starting a life over there and forming relationships, I wouldn't want to return. Again, not taking your boyfriend's feelings into consideration, your boyfriend of 3.5 years. I guess he was good for something during those 3.5 years, right? It just sucks. It does. My boyfriend remained selflessly neutral about the whole thing because he has no choice, ma'am, because you're not giving him one. Let me read that again. My boyfriend remained selflessly neutral about the whole thing. This is a good dude that understands women as best as possible in his early 20s. He remains neutral because he's like, well, shit. If she's going to go, she's going to go. I can't stop her. I love her. I care about her. But you know what? If you love someone, set them free. You know what? If they prioritize you at the highest level possible, they'll find a way to be with you one way or another. And they're not going to make selfish decisions to change the greatness you have in your relationship. Sad, in my opinion. It was shedding tears over the privileged decision of choosing which fantastic city to live in. Again, you're shedding tears over which fantastic city to live in, and not the fact that you may have to break up with your boyfriend or he may break up with you. Do you see how she's writing this? The way she's writing this is not even taking the feelings of her boyfriend into consideration. Yet, if her boyfriend didn't take her feelings into consideration, she'd be all over him on that. Right? Yeah. Yeah. God, I wish we'd go back 55 plus years. Oh, man. What have we gotten ourselves into nowadays, man? I finally made my decision one gray January day, walking with my mom, across the park near our house. It was raining lightly, and as I turned to her and asked for the 15th time that day what she thought I should do, she replied matter-of-factly, there is more than one way to skin a cat. If you really want to be in New York, you will find a way, and a way that means you can both be together. I let that sit for a few moments before saying, but I can't have it all, Mom. She looked at me puzzled. Why not? Like her mother's old school, right? Her mother's old school and was raised traditionally to stand by her man, no matter what, through thick and thin. You see, that's how women were naturally and biologically made to be by a higher power, I believe, to be God, right? But nowadays, women do not stand by their men. Nowadays, because women are empowered and they have equal rights and they're getting college degrees and they're working in the corporate world, nowadays it's different. And they do not stand by their man over that. They don't. Just if you have to go back and read this blog, go to Grazia, GRAZIA.com, or just type in Grazia career versus love, and you'll find it there. Give me a second here. So her mother says she looked at me puzzled. Why not? In the midst of worrying, I had forgotten that it is possible to have it all. Of course, because you were being selfish, ma'am, and thinking about yourself. You didn't take your boyfriend's feelings into consideration. Something very common throughout many, if not most women. It's almost like a natural, normal female characteristic. It is. If you're a man and don't understand that, then you might as well just become a monk or be single for the rest of your life, because I'll leave that one alone. One more time. In the midst of worrying, I had forgotten that it is possible to have it all. It just may not be possible to have it all right at this very moment. That's not true. You could. You're just choosing not to, or you're leaving yourself to believe that it is not possible. Okay? You're selling yourself short. You're being selfish. You're only thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about what's best for you and your boyfriend that you love and care for. You're thinking about what's best for yourself. Yet, if your boyfriend wasn't there supporting you, you'd be saying, you're not taking my feelings into consideration, right? Just so funny. Well, I'm lucky enough to be part of a generation that really can make its dreams come true. The downside of that is this insatiable expectation that we can and should get everything we want instantaneously. That's your generation, man, the millennials. You created this instant gratification BS. And it doesn't have to be that way. Real, true gratification takes time and is earned over the course of time. There's nothing instant about anything. It doesn't help that social media makes it seem as if people are following their dreams and making their lives an Instagrammable success at the tender age of 18. Well, that's because what a lot of women will do is they will wear low-cut shirts and hang over like this, or they will stick out their butt, and focus on that, right? Now, I'm not saying that you're one that does this, ma'am, but many women do that, right? They get a lot of attention because they know, men, especially your age, they haven't matured yet. And when you do that, you're going to get a man's attention because, men love the sexual attraction of a woman. We do. Now, for us men, as we get older and we realize there's more to life than sex, we want more than that. And sex is not at the top of our list. It's a part of it. But at that age, it's all about, how big is your butt? How big are your boobs? Do you have a six-pack, dude, right? It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. People that do that are very insecure people. In my opinion, you shouldn't show anything until it's the right time to show it with that one special person. Let them earn it. And that goes for men as well. To me, 22 felt positively ancient. Really? You felt ancient and old at 22? And I beat myself up for not grabbing this big opportunity and thinking only of number one. I would have done that had I been single, but I wasn't, and rightly or wrongly, that changed everything. Okay. In the midst of worrying, I had forgotten that it is possible to have it all. It just may not be possible to have it all right at this very moment. That's definitely not true. You know what that's called, ma'am? Now I remember the right terminology. I've done so much personal development, right? That's called a limited belief, ma'am. You are having a limited belief within yourself saying it is not possible to have both a happy, sustainable, loving relationship and have a great career and balance both of them out, right? That's a limited belief. Mom's words were the proverbial shake I needed. If New York was my dream, I could make it happen again. It would take patience, hard work, and my commitment to the cause. But if I wanted it, then why the hell couldn't I have it? Because you have a limited belief, man. It's a limited belief. That's all it is. Once you figure that out and come to terms with that, and you open your mind, anything is possible. Spring came, and I remained firmly on British soil. Whoa. Wow. I got a job and moved into a flat. They call apartments flats out there. Pretty cool name for an apartment, right? Flat. Come over to my flat. In Vauxhall with my boyfriend in March. Wow. God bless you. It's been 7 months since I returned from New York, and the $1 million question remains. Do I regret not going back? Ask me in a few years' time. My relationship is great. I have a job in an exciting industry, and I feel as ambitious and career-driven as every one of those female millennials surveyed. Wow. You see how this turned around? Good for you, ma'am. It is possible to have it all. You chose to have it all. And you chose to not be selfish. You chose to have both things that you really want. You want true love and happiness. Had you given that up, you might not have found a guy remotely close to the good guy you have, right? And then you found a job in your area that excites you as much as the one in New York did, right? Wow. In the end, what the hell is that word? Assuaged my inner turmoil by consoling myself with the fact that if what everyone's been telling me is true, that real love lasts a lifetime and more importantly will wait, then I have nothing to worry about. Well, in the modern world, real love lasts like 2 seconds, man. Because let me tell you something. If I'm dating a woman even for 5 years and she says I need to go and do something in another country or another state or go away for 6 months to a year, I'm telling you, that's the end of the relationship. Because at that point, you got to weigh in. I've been with this guy 5 years. I've got this opportunity back east. What's that going to do to my relationship? How's that going to affect me emotionally? What do I really want? What really makes me more happy? Is it my career or is it my man? Or is it a combination of both? But which one can I replace easier than the other? You can always replace a job. Can you always replace someone that's your soulmate? I mean, anyone can be replaceable. I get it. But if you find your soulmate, is your soulmate replaceable? In theory, it's not. Even though everyone can be replaced, I get that. If you really feel you found your soulmate, they're not replaceable. Your job is. New York has a large piece of my heart, and I know that when I do return, it will be just as wonderful as when I left. We'll pick up right where I left off, right where we left off. Okay. Well, that was a good blog. It's very good. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to set up the second blog because I'm going to take a quick break, and then give me a second here. And then when I come back, I'm going to get right to this. Give me just a second here. Queen says, I seen that happen on the streets. Oh, okay. Great. Excellent. Excellent. Just 1 second here, folks. I'm going to set this up on the fly real quick. Let me see. Oh, this is going to be simple. It's got the nice lines down the side. It'll be so easy to crop. Give me just a second here. We're almost there. Gotten so good at this. So good. Quick and easy on the fly. All right, give me a second. All right, I think we're all set. Let me just get this right there. All right, we are good. All right, so I'm going to switch back over to full screen here. Full screen. I can't even talk. I'm going to cue up some cool royalty-free YouTube music. Let's see here. Which songs? Okay. Come on. All right. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. 1 second. My apologies on that. All right, folks. We'll be back in about 5 to 7 or 8 minutes. Do not go anywhere. Feel the groove. Feel it. Feel it. I want you all to feel it. Feel it. Yeah. Yeah, feel it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Get those hands up. Get all fired up right now. Come on, feel it with me. We're almost back. We're almost back. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube. It is 7:09 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 4:09 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time in my neck of the woods. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, Northern California, San Mateo County, Redwood City to be exact. And I'm glad you could all join me here today, whether you're here with me live right now or you're watching this on the replay. And folks, please share your feedback, share your comments. Let me know what your thoughts are regarding this topic of, women, they seem to be more career focused nowadays in the modern world than relationship focused. And share with me. I would love to hear from both men and women, but even more so from women, because I want to know how this has affected you from living the life that you thought you wanted to live when you were a little girl. When women are little girls, they have dreams of finding a Prince Charming and getting married and being swept off their feet and having beautiful babies and the white picket fence and the roses and the nicely trimmed lawn and all that, right? Whatever happened to that? Now women are working and they're buying that for themselves, and then they're living in that house alone. Are they living in that house alone? Happy? Which is what I'm trying to say. Are they living in that home alone happy? Or are they a little bit lonely or miserable or whatever, right? You tell me, share with me your feedback. If you're here in the chat live, share it in there. If you are watching this on the replay, please comment below. Or also, once again, feel free to email me at Coach Eli at coach@eliasmelas.com. My email is below in the description. Or you can go to the About section of my channel to get the email if you're on the laptop or desktop version of YouTube. You cannot access that email from the About section from mobile. They should make it available there, but they haven't. Maybe down the road. All right. Let's get right to it. Let's get through the second block here so then we can go relax. And I may be back for a second stream later tonight. I've got a topic already in mind. If I don't do it later tonight, I'll definitely do it tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how I feel later tonight. We'll see, what pops up in my personal life. You never know. Anyway, let's go back to the browser screen and get to this next blog here, because this one blew my mind away. This one's going to blow your mind away. When I read this, I was like, wow. This will completely, be in alignment with what I've been talking about. Now, the title is off-center again on this blog, so you're not going to see it completely on your screen there. But the title is, I never wanted to sacrifice my career for a relationship. Then I realized something had to change. Whoa, boy, that's a pretty bold title there, ma'am. I never wanted to sacrifice my career for a relationship. Then I realized something had to change. This blog is written by a pretty cool Asian woman named Marianne Liu. She's an operations editor. I guess I guess she must work for the Washington Post. This is on the Washington Post website. It was written November 27th, 2018. So about a year and a half ago or so. This is very, very current. Let's get right to it. Shall we? All right. Instead of walking down the aisle, I booked a one-way trip to Hong Kong. It all happened when I got a job offer the day before my fiance and I were supposed to sign the contract for our wedding venue. Oh my God. That dude must have been severely devastated. I know I would have been. Listen, guys are stronger emotionally, or we're supposed to be stronger emotionally, that is. But I don't care how strong emotionally of a man you are in that situation. You know, if you're supposed to sign the contract for a wedding venue and then your fiance books a one-way trip to Hong Kong right before that's supposed to happen, what are you supposed to make out of that? Or from that? Whew, man. I come from a long line of women who stayed home to take care of their families. Man, that's the way that God made men and women to be. That's called traditionalism, right? When women stay at home, they're the homemakers, the housekeepers, the housewives, which one I'm trying to say, not housekeepers, the housewives, the homemakers, they call them nowadays, if they still exist. And the man would go and bring home the bacon. And then you take care of the kids, cook the dinner, vacuum the floor, mop the floors, right? Do all that, and the man does his part. You both do your part, and life is great, right? Life is great. Again, I come from a long line of women who stayed home to take care of their families. My great-grandmother had her feet bound, and my grandmother attended charm school. Well, I think we need to bring back charm school for women nowadays. I got to tell you, never mind. I was going to say, never mind. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think charm school needs to come back, not only for women, but for men as well, because men are struggling with this as well nowadays. But anyway, all to be good Chinese wives. That's how it was. That's how God made things to be. That's how we were biologically made to be. Man, I'm very passionate about this topic. I really am. My mom was supposed to break tradition, immigrating to the United States to get a doctorate in biochemistry. But once she married my traditional father, she never used her fancy degree. You hear that? Fancy degree, right? Choosing instead to dedicate her life to her children. Okay, what's wrong with that? I always thought she was wrong to sacrifice her dreams for her family. It's a tough choice, isn't it? Back in the days, before this whole equal rights movement came out, which, listen, again, women deserve to have equal rights. They should have always had them. But back in the days of traditionalism, that's what life was all about. That was normal. You wouldn't even be questioning this back in those days. You're questioning this because of the feminist agenda. No disrespect to it. I'm just stating the facts. You're a part of feminism, ma'am. And no disrespect. That's just what it is. A group of women got together and said, we need to fight for equal rights, and women need to work, women need to do all these things, right? So you're just going along with the agenda. And so are pretty much most other women nowadays. No disrespect. Those are just the facts. Therefore, it was my duty to claim a career for myself. Because that's what you really wanted, man. That's not what the feminist agenda wants for you or has wanted for you, right? I'm just being honest here. I'm stating this as maturely and professionally as possible. Was it your duty? Is it your duty? Was it your duty, man? Or was it what the agenda of a larger group that got to you in that way? You started seeing other women do this and you wanted to be a part of that, right? So in essence, you followed someone else's vision, not your own, right? Of how life should be or what your choices should be, right? At age 5, I swore that I would never change my last name and never give up my career for a man. I could not be the next woman in my family to succumb to tradition. That sounds like a modern woman to me right there. So there was no way I was going to turn down this Hong Kong job. I thought I was off to an opportunity of a lifetime. Well, ma'am, have you heard of karma? I talk about karma on my channel a lot. And I state that karma has no deadline, ma'am. Karma has no deadline. I also say that you mess with the bull, you will get the horns, right? You know where I'm going with this, right? Let's continue. This gets better. It gets even better, right? While I am a career woman, I'm still a sucker for Prince Charming. Contradicting statement, right? I want both. I want to be a career woman and still be a sucker for Prince Charming. I love being in love. Let me read that again. I'm sorry. The more and more I read this blog, it just cracks me up. While I am a career woman, I'm still a sucker for Prince Charming. I love being in love. I love being wooed, getting flowers, and going out to fancy dinners. And ma'am, I love paying for those $100+ fancy dinners for women like you that choose your career over me, right? Or don't decide to balance your career. I'm not saying you have to give up your career for me, but balance it out, right? And don't run away from me by running off to Hong Kong because you think you got the career opportunity of a lifetime, right? Well, let's see what happens, right? Karma has no deadline, ma'am. And karma's about to bite you, you know where, right? I love being a coach. I love this. I love being a coach. I love this stuff. I love rom-coms, Hallmark Christmas movies, and Disney cartoons. That's so sweet. I've always believed in happily ever after. Doesn't every woman believe in that at some point? I've always believed in happily ever after, so much so that at age 16, I decided I was going to meet my future husband, marry him, and punch out a bunch of kids, all by age 28. Wow. Man, it sounded like you were saying, I want to be a baby machine instead of a corporate executive. I actually respect this woman because it gets good. Trust me. This woman owned it. I'm going to give you a little spoiler here. This woman owned it by the end of this blog. I got to read that again. It was so good. I love rom-coms, Hallmark Christmas movies, and Disney cartoons. I've always believed in happily ever after. So much so that at age 16, I decided I was going to meet my future husband, marry him, and punch out a bunch of kids, all by age 28. Well, man, that's the best time. That's when you're most fertile. You know, by the time you hit your 30s, it starts to go down a little bit. By the time you hit your 40s, it goes down significantly, right? Great plan, right? Well, how did you execute? Let's find out. I've missed that deadline by more than a decade. Wow. It's so noteworthy, we have to repeat it again. I've missed that deadline by more than a decade. A decade is 10 years. Wow. As a journalist, I've always been on the move. To and from several cities in California. Love it, California, love. Detroit, Seattle, Florida, and most recently to Hong Kong. Chasing the next story and prioritizing my resume over my heart. Let me read that one more time. This is really good. I've always been on the move to and from several cities in California, Detroit, Seattle, Florida, and most recently to Hong Kong, chasing the next story and prioritizing my resume over my heart. That sucks, doesn't it, ma'am? Is it worth it? Isn't your heart the most important part of your body? If you have no heart, ma'am, the blood's not going to be pumped to circulate through your veins and you're dead. You already know that, ma'am. You're very intelligent. You're a journalist. I get it. I'm just, just kind of putting my own spin on it, right? Anyway, in my haphazard pursuit for my career, I've killed my relationships. Whoa, you're taking ownership of it. I can respect that. In my haphazard pursuit for my career, I've killed my relationships. How many of you women can say the same thing? That you've killed your relationships because you went full force after your career and you gave up your personal life. You said, screw it. I'm just going to focus on making money and having the most successful career possible. While I was open to everything, online dating, speed dating, and getting set up by well-meaning friends, I would always pull away before getting too close. So let's say a natural connection was happening, right? The dude wanted to make a move, kiss you. You would turn that. You're the kind of chick that would turn the cheek, right? Not because you weren't attracted to him, because you didn't want to get emotionally attached because it was going to affect your career, right? Then you'd be stuck in the middle of a rock and a hard place to make a decision of which way do you go, right? But that happened regardless, right, ma'am? Let's continue. I've been near engagement multiple times, but the threat of giving up my career would steer me the other way. How? I believed it was an either-or situation, and it's really not. You have to learn to balance it, which is the problem most women have. They cannot balance their work and personal life. That's why they go for the career over the relationship, because they feel it's not possible to balance it, and it is. I could have a partner or career, but not both. Not true. Limiting belief again, like the other lady in her article. But you know that. Let's continue. Because I was worried my family history would repeat itself. What was wrong with your family history? You turned out to be, you sound like a reasonable woman that's just confused over how to handle the modern world, right? What was wrong with your family history? Do you understand, ma'am? Maybe you do now that, for hundreds of years before this, even thousands, this is how life was. Life was how your family history ran it, traditional. I always thought I needed a Clark Kent to my Lois Lane, a man as focused on his career as I was on mine, someone I could call my partner in crime. But after a few tries, I realized that dating someone like me is awful. Right? You know why, ma'am? Because they're busy working all the damn time. They can't see you. And you have the same issue. You're working all the time. He's working all the time. You're working all the time. So when do you have free time to be together if you're always working? That's good. That's good. It is not fun competing with a constantly ringing phone and never-ending emails. Let me read that one more time. It is not fun competing with a constantly ringing phone and never-ending emails. You got to turn it off to enjoy the love. Let me tell you something. When I was with my ex, I would turn it off and snuggle up with her, and I forgot about that damn phone. I forgot about that computer. I forgot about everything else, because you know what? I really enjoyed her company. And she was a good woman that balanced me out in ways I needed to be balanced out. I'll admit that as a man. And women are good at doing that. But on the flip side, men are good at balancing out women. And ma'am, you're realizing that you need that balance of a man. But let's continue. This time was different. It wasn't love at first sight, But I was also no longer in my 20s thinking I needed someone charming with a six-pack. That's how a lot of you would think. You got to have the perfect body, all this money, fancy car, the three-story house with 4-car garage. Right. All the stereotypes, right? We met online, and our first date was so awkward. Not only did he ask if I missed my ex who had moved overseas. God, that's a stupid question any guy would ask, but anyway. He asked me what kind of wedding my dad wanted. On the first date? Wow. In trying to gauge how serious I was about dating. Well, now I get it, ma'am. In essence, this dude didn't want his time wasted with a modern-day woman that was working all the time or is working all the time and has no time to date. He wants to see, do you have time to continue seeing him? Are you going to make the effort? Or is it going to be all about your work and no fun, no play, right? Again, in trying to gauge how serious I was about dating, he broke all the usual rules for first dates, and that attracted you to him because no other man's done that. In essence, this dude was testing you. He was shit testing you, which is typically what women do. This is called the reverse shit test. Oh, I'm beginning to actually like this guy now. I get what he was doing. Good for him. Guess it worked, right? What won him a second date was that he admitted he was reading one of my favorite books, Fountainhead, and that he listens to NPR. He balanced out my creative, nervous energy with a calm mellowness. Every woman's like you, ma'am. Every woman, has a level of anxiety that's higher than a man's. That's just how women are. That's why you need us to balance that out. Yeah, you said it yourself. Right. There was no waiting game of when to call back. He just called. He went for it. He broke all the rules. He didn't play games. He also didn't always let me have my way. Good. That's a great quality a man should have. If you let a woman always have her way, she's going to control you, and she's going to feel like she's stronger than you, and she'll be turned off. She'll lose respect for you. I like this dude more and more now. He also didn't always let me have my way, but pushed back when appropriate. By doing this, he earned my trust and respect, which is most important. In essence, man, he didn't put up with your bullshit, and it turned you on, right? Right. And while I was all about working, he was the one cooking, brewing coffee for the morning, and prepping our dinners. I used to do that for my ex, Dana. Now, she did it for me as well. But if you're a good dude, you should be able to cook, and you should be able to do everything that women only once did, and women should be able to do pretty much anything that men only once did. See, this dude was basically treating her in ways that no other guy had. It basically got her attention, and she's like, wow, this is a guy that I got to find a way to be around. I'm loving this energy, right? He would force me to put down my phone during meals, was incredibly goofy, and appreciated my brand of dark humor. He was humble, unpretentious, and liked my often overbearing dad and his bad jokes. Let me tell you something. When you care about a woman, you love a woman, you'll put up with a lot. You shouldn't have to, but you will. After 3 years together, he proposed in Key West, giggling for a half hour before he could get the question out. It was the summer before I left, and I planned almost everything for the big day. I tried on fluffy white dresses. I found an outdoor venue that looked like the setting of the teen flick Twilight in the middle of a redwood forest. The bridesmaids and I were going to wear flower crowns. The guests were going to blow bubbles while a couple of friends sang and played Over the Rainbow. Somewhere over the rainbow. Yeah. On ukulele. That's great. Then we would all settle down for a traditional 10-course Chinese banquet before drinking ourselves silly while dancing to old school hip hop and 90s rock. It was going to be wonderfully sappy. All those plans were scrapped when Hong Kong came along. Wow. Yeah, she lost it, Queen. I tried to persuade him to follow me, but also tried not to pressure him too hard. After my last relationship ended, when I didn't join my military ex-boyfriend, when he was called to South Korea, I knew that I couldn't demand the same thing. Besides, my fiance preferred the comforts of home rather than living abroad. Can you blame him for that? Are you beginning to see a pattern, ma'am? Are you? Do you realize that, you yourself are giving up what you really naturally want, a relationship and marriage and kids. And you're doing that because you're addicted to your job. Nothing wrong with loving what you do and making good money and being passionate about it. But when you're addicted to your work, when you're addicted to it to the point of where, it overrides every other aspect of your life, including your personal love life, that speaks for itself. So we found a compromise. We'd stay together, but wouldn't do long distance for more than 2 years. I left for Hong Kong alone. While I was exploring a new country, my heart kept breaking. The longest stretch we went without seeing each other was 5 months. When I commuted to work and ate by myself, I would silently curse happy couples on subways and restaurants. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, what were you feeling? What were you feeling? What's a good word? I can't even think of the right word. I want to say resentment, but that's not the right word. You were beginning to realize what you really want. Because again, like I said earlier, you have been programmed by this modern world of feminism, which is fine. I understand it, no disrespect. You've been programmed by feminism and the feminist agenda that says, I got to go to college, get a college degree, get into my career, and take the opportunities. And if I'm with someone that I'm happy and I have to move away, far away from them, if they don't want to come with me, then screw them, right? Well, yeah, you may think that way until you go and do it, and then you start to miss the guy because you miss what you had, right? Right. Although the time difference was extreme, my morning was his night and vice versa. We talked every morning and night. We talked more while I was overseas than we had when we were in the same place. We didn't have the luxury of fighting because we would have to wait another 12 hours to resolve that fight. Okay? When my parents came to visit, I asked my mom about her decision to give up her job for her family. I admitted that I was in Hong Kong because I was trying to make up for what she lost. Well, man, what did your mom lose? She lost nothing. She's had a good life, it sounds like. Again, you're basically, in my opinion, a victim of the system. Again, now, I don't think the system is completely bad. I think women should have always had equal rights. I think women should have always had, equal pay for equal work, right? But now that women do have those rights and they're working rightfully so and doing the things that only men once were able to do, women have not been able to figure out how to balance that out. Right now, you're realizing that you can have both, but you've got to learn how to balance it out. Part of balancing it out means if you want to be with someone that, you should keep the opportunities that you seek local to the point of where they're within driving distance and you can keep your relationship. If you really value your relationship at that level or at the level that you want to value it at or it should be valued at. We were shopping, and she stopped, looked at me straight in the eyes, and said that those were her choices, not mine. She wanted me to know that I had the right to my own happiness, and your mother's right. Your mother wanted a traditional relationship and marriage. Apparently, you thought you didn't, but let's continue. After a year and a half apart for the first time in my life, I prioritized a guy over a job and decided to move back. You started to miss him, didn't you? You started to realize that, making your life all about your work is not fun, right, ma'am? No problem having a job, but making it 100% about work is not going to make you fully happy, right? I couldn't afford to lose him. I love when a woman says that. When a woman says, I can't afford to lose him, that's exactly the position you want to be in as a man if you care about that woman. Right after I moved to Florida to be with him, I called our wedding venue. They had dates available right away, so instead of waiting again, we would do it, even though we had only 3 months to resume planning. After all this time apart, my fiance asked if I wanted to work at his company, so we wouldn't have to commute and eat alone anymore. It wasn't my initial goal, but I still write on the side to keep myself sane. Now that we're that dorky couple that lives, works, and eats together. Well, I'm glad it's working out for you. But in my opinion, I would never want to work with somebody I'm dating or married to, because you got to have a little time apart to breathe, right? Because if you're living together, you're going to spend every day together, right? Those 8 to 10 hours a day that you're working, okay, and you're spending time apart from each other. It allows you both to go do your thing, to both go do your purpose, and then miss each other and come back home and then start to grab each other and feel the love again, right? But if it's working for you, it's working for you. If you're good with it, that's great. I'm glad it worked out that way. Almost a year to the day we were supposed to get married, with over the rainbow playing, friends blowing bubbles, and bridesmaids donning flower crowns, we walked down the aisle together. It was wonderfully sappy, and I didn't even need to change my last name. A lot of women aren't even changing their last names anymore, or they're hyphenating their names. Wow. All right, folks. I'm about to wrap this up. Give me 1 second, please. All right. So, I'll just read in the chat real quick. Let me switch back over to full screen, but give me a second. Let me reset this for future shows. All right. And we're good to go. All right, folks. Before I wrap this up, there are a lot of good men and women in this world still nowadays. I think everyone is a good person at the core. I understand that, women want to make a statement. Women want to be respected. Women want to have the same opportunities that men have always had. No problem at all. No problem at all. But when I see women out there in their 20s, their mid-20s to late 20s, and a lot of these women are very intelligent, they're beautiful, they're sophisticated, they've got their stuff together, they're in a good career, and they're friendly and they talk with you and they like you and all that. And then you ask them, so, are you seeing anybody, or are you married? Do you have any kids? No, I'm not married. Well, you're not married? No, I've just decided that, it's not for me. What do you mean it's not for you? I'm just kind of curious. Well, I just don't want to get married ever. What about relationships? Well, I'm not really big on relationships. I'm just focused on, doing my part to make this world a better place. Okay. Like when you're dealing with people like that in this modern world, and it's not just one. If it was just 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 20 or 30%, there'd be plenty left for good guys like me to have a chance of connecting with at a deeper level for a real committed relationship. But folks, literally, like over 90% of the women that I've encountered over the last several years, okay, and in between relationships, while I look for a good woman to date and hopefully make it work with, have been the same ways as the example I just gave a second ago. They don't want a relationship. Then I asked them, okay, like that chick I was mentioning at the beginning of the show that I talked to on the phone line last night. I asked her, if you don't want a relationship, you're a beautiful, attractive woman, do you not ever have any needs or physical needs, or are you just going celibate the rest of your life? And she got back to me and she said, oh, no, trust me, I have needs, and I take care of those when need be. I've got, certain people that, I can go to get those needs fulfilled. So in essence, and I didn't respond to her after that, in essence, what that's saying is that I'm going to hook up. I still have sexual needs and urges, right? But I don't want to have kids. I don't want to ever get married. I don't want a relationship, but I still want to have meaningless sex with somebody, right? It's just sad. It's sad to me that that's the way this world has become. Now, there are still good, I'm not saying these women are bad that are doing this, they're just making a choice. But there are still some women that want the real thing and can balance it out. And there are still some men that want the real thing and can balance it out. But I will tell you, folks, it's less than 10% of our entire global population, in my opinion. And that's why when you put yourself out there nowadays, folks, you could give it your best shot. You could play your cards right. You could play your game, however you call it. When I say game, I don't mean playing a game, but I mean you could be the most charming, decent, understanding, confident, not overly cocky man. You could do everything right. And the woman could be attracted to you and everything, right? And it still is not going to work out for one reason or another, primarily stemming back to the fact that women are more career focused and they're investing all their time and energy into their career. And then once they're done with their work, they're too tired to go out. And then on the weekends, when they have days off, they're either spending time with their family or they're resting because they're so tired, right? If you truly want to find real love nowadays, folks, I'm telling you, even if you look online, okay, you're going to go through 100 bad seeds, which I'm not going to say they're bad women. They're just not the right person. You're going to go through 100 bad seeds before you find one. It used to be back in the days, you're going to go through 5 or 10 bad seeds or 20, right? Now it's 100 plus, maybe more. Because the world has shifted the perspective of what women want. And I honestly believe, I'm going to wrap up by saying this. I honestly believe that every woman out there still, underneath it all, wants true love and happiness and the marriage and the kids. It's just that they've been indoctrinated into this culture of feminism, which to a certain extent, in my opinion, is good. The equal rights, equal work for equal pay for equal work, which is what I'm trying to say, etc., right? but because they've been indoctrinated in this culture, and most of this particular woman's other friends are already living this culture, she feels if she doesn't conform to it, she's going to be an outsider, right? It's almost kind of like a disease spreading. It's not. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying it's infecting more and more of the type of women that I want to be with that can balance it out, and infecting them to the point of where, they're no longer able to balance out to have that relationship. It's pretty sad. So I said what I had to say. I hope you enjoyed the show, folks. I may or may not be back later tonight. It depends. I've got a great topic on my mind, but I'll see how I feel. If I don't come back later tonight, I will come back tomorrow at some point and surprise you with this awesome topic. That being said, thank you to everyone in the chat, and thank you to everyone else that watches this on the replay. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye. Bye. Bye. We're out.